Hello everyone, my name is Kevin and today I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the BIOS in the UEFI and about the benefits for each system. But before that, let me give you some more information about the two. Let us start with the BIOS. BIOS stands for Basic Input Output System and it's very important for every computer. The BIOS is the only software available before your operating system is ready. The BIOS is kind of a library with some basic instructions and it handles the communication between the hardware and your operating system. It will check if all your hardware connected to the motherboard can operate properly. When everything is ready, it'll look for a boot sector on a USB, HDD, or network to continue starting up the system. When that's done, the operating system takes over the tasks of the BIOS. Luckily, we can change these instructions, because before 1990 you would need special equipment just to change some settings, because the BIOS was saved on an EPROM. Today, you can find the BIOS on an EEPROM, which makes it possible to change the BIOS without having to change the chip. If you want to enter the BIOS, you'll have to press a key. Normally, you can see which one you have to press when starting up your computer, but most of the times it's the F10, F2, or the delete button. Once you're in the BIOS, there are some interesting things to change, such like the settings of your CPU or memory when you want to increase or slow down your speed, or settings for your hard drive disk so you can change, by example, the boot order settings when you've installed some extra hardware on your motherboard. Most of the companies designed it in a way you can't change everything. Changing settings in the BIOS can go wrong and screw up your computer. When you're an expert, you'll have to look for a company that offers motherboards where it's easier to change these settings in the BIOS. If you do mess up your settings, please don't apply them and try to quit without saving. So now that you know how the BIOS works, I'll tell you a little bit more about the UEFI and why it was created. So UEFI stands for Unified Extensible Firmware Interface and was created by Intel. It's a successor of the BIOS. As I said before, the BIOS is like a little library. If we look at UEFI, we can say it's more like a little operating system by itself. So the tasks of the UEFI are pretty much the same as the ones of the BIOS, but why did they have to develop it? Well, first of all, you'll notice a big difference in the interface between the two. With the BIOS, everything looks harder and you're not able to use your mouse. You'll have to look through all the options with your arrow keys. With the UEFI, the mouse can also be used. As I said, the BIOS looks harder than the UEFI. The UEFI is user friendly and it speaks more for itself. That's why we say it's more like an operating system. You'll have a lot more options and features to look through and they'll give you a lot more information than the BIOS offers you. With the UEFI, screenshots can also be taken and you'll have a little notebook to take notes for, by example, when you've made recent changes. One of the reasons we changed to UEFI is because it's completely platform independent and more comprehensive. The UEFI can handle all of the connected hardware, which ensures that the system is able to boot faster because the UEFI loads all the hardware and not the operating system. Another advantage is the classification of your HDD where your operating system will start loading because it's formatted in GPT, which stands for Guide Partition Table. The guide partition table's partitions are better protected against rootkits and viruses, who are settled in the boot sector, which can cause problems for loading your operating system. GPTs have a backup partition table, which can be used when there are problems with the backup partition table. Also, GPTs can have 128 partitions, while the NTFS can only have 4. Another advantage is that the UEFI can use firmware to have a secure boot. It is used to get the pre-operating system environment safe. Another reason to change to UEFI is that the BIOS doesn't support HDDs with a capacity larger than 2.2 terabytes. With the rise of bigger and bigger capacities, none of the future HDDs will be able to work with the new computers, because nowadays almost every computer has UEFI. Of course, there's still a reason why people work with the BIOS instead of the UEFI. Well, this is because UEFI almost doesn't support older operating systems. like Linux distribution, for example. Right now, it is possible to disable the UEFI and boot in BIOS legacy mode, but maybe in the future this option will be deleted. So I hope this video helped you and gave you some more information about the operation of the BIOS and UEFI. If you still have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Have a good day and till next time.